Registered representatives offer securities through Securities America, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Financial advisors offer advisory services through Securities America Advisors, Inc. Forest Hills Financial, Inc. and Securities America are separate entities. This is the Keeping Your Money Show with Jamie Westenbarger and Bart Steindler.
Good morning. Welcome to Keep Your Money Show. Jamie Westenbarger, joined as always by my esteemed colleague, Mr. Bart Steindler. Bart, how you doing this morning?
Now that Laura turned the volume down on my speakers, I'm doing just great. It's another $1 million morning in Grand Rapids.
So I woke you up is what you're saying. That's good.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what is great about today, other than all of the potheads out there who celebrate the fact that it's 420, is that tax day is over. There's one more year of taxes filed, and we're going to talk about that later.
Do you know that in Denver, you can buy a Carl's Jr. burger that's infused with, what is it, the CBD or whatever it is?
We are becoming this is Beer City, USA. The country is becoming CBD USA. So
they're only offering it in one store in Denver on April 20th.
Interesting.
Yes. And then they're going to see how it goes from there.
It's kind of funny because if you think back years ago, I think about every once in a while you'd hear about like some fast food joint getting nailed for being like actually trafficking drugs. Like if you ordered a certain combo of combination things, that actually meant you wanted like a bag of weed or something.
Yeah, you'd get it in the drive-thru window.
And now Carl's Jr. is just out front about it.
Yeah.
If you're here for weed, it's the number 7.
Yeah, we're mixing it in the sauce that we put on your hamburger.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Enjoy it.
Well, yep, there's that. We got a great show on deck today, though. This is Keep Your Money Show, where we cut through all the bulls, the booyahs, the bells, whistles, honks, and horns to get you to the information that actually helps you move towards retirement. You can call us anytime. That toll-free number is 888-98-MONEY, 888-986-6639. And just as an interesting tidbit to that, if you call that number, someone will take your information, and either Bart or myself will call you back. I called and talked to a guy this week. We were speaking for about 10 minutes, and he goes, well, what's your relationship to those guys? And I said, what guys? And he goes, the guys on the radio. I go, I am the guy on the radio. He goes, oh, I didn't realize it was you. So, yes, that's us. We will call you.
Sometimes we're out, in public talking to people, and they just recognize us by our voice.
The Uber drivers are always the ones that throw me off.
Yeah.
I'll be talking to them. Wait a minute. I've heard you on the radio.
Yeah.
You can, of course, if you missed part of the show, always find us on the web. You can find it on our website at keepingyourmoney.com. You can also find it on any of your favorite podcast partners. We're on iTunes, Google Play Music, YouTube, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and now we are on Spotify as well. Just search for the Keeping Your Money Show. So we're going to talk about 5 questions to ask before you hire a financial professional. How do you measure a financial advisor's credibility? And is your financial advisor truly independent? If you haven't noticed, there's a theme there. I thought the other day, you might be driving around, you've listened to our show, you've moved with us when we had to move stations, when the flagship we were on for years went off the air. Now you're listening to us. If you're here in Grand Rapids, you're listening to us locally on 96.1 ESPN Radio. And maybe you finally decided, you know what, these guys make a lot of sense. They're not trying to sell anything. They're just trying to encourage me to be smarter about planning for my retirement. It's time for me to find a financial advisor. Well, the next 3 topics that we're going to talk about today are going to help you move down the road to figure out how you go about doing that. And then before we wrap up the show, after our long conversation last week about taxes, I found an article in the USA Today that I thought was really interesting. And it basically talks about how that whole concept of filing your taxes on a postcard actually isn't that far from being a reality if Congress would just get out of the way. So we'll talk about that more. You can always, of course, email the show. Send us an email, info@keepingyourmoney.com. That's INFO at keepingyourmoney.com. We do respond to all those personally. So let's talk about this questions to ask before you hire a financial advisor. One of the largest hurdles, I would say, for people in hiring help with their financial planning, with their retirement income planning, with their distribution strategies, all the things they know they need to do. I mean, study after study shows that long-term working with a good independent financial advisor can be very beneficial to your long-term goal success. So you know you need one, but maybe you've never been in the office of a financial advisor. So it's kind of intimidating. Like, how many times do we have somebody come in and they go, I'll say, well, do you have any other questions? And they'll say, I don't know. What questions should I be asking?
Yeah.
Because if you've never sat down with one before, maybe you don't know what to say. I mean, it's like the first time you go meet with an attorney, you don't want to make a poor decision, but you really don't know what guidelines should help you make a good decision, you know? So the first one is you need to be asking your advisor if they work for a specific company and if there is a certain investment, family of investments, type of investment that they recommend the most. And the reason you want to know this is because, unfortunately, there are situations where, depending on who someone works for, it can absolutely impact whether they're going to recommend a particular investment or not. We've had a number of advisors join us in the last year who worked for companies other than ours early in their careers. And one of the biggest reasons many of them move, other than my amazingly charming personality, is because they want freedom to help their clients make good decisions and not be kind of forced into a certain product portfolio.
That's right. And a lot of times when advisors are in a situation where they're not allowed the freedom to pick the portfolios, they actually are not as invested and enthusiastic about their career as they would otherwise be, because in their heart they realize that there's other things out there that they could be recommending to people. And they are, now this isn't to say that they aren't recommending suitable investments, but they are not recommending the investments that would necessarily be the best for the person because they just don't have them available.
Well, let's say, for instance, and I'm not saying this is necessarily the case, but just as an example, there's a portion of your portfolio the advisor knows you need in bonds. Mm-hmm. They happen to work for a firm that doesn't have access to a bond desk, that doesn't have access to capital markets that can build bond portfolios. So they are restricted to really basically only offering you a bond mutual fund. Now, in some instances, it may not matter. In other instances, it could be quite beneficial for you to not go that route. But since that's their only option, they really don't have the ability to steer you in another direction. Let's say they work for a company who produces their own products. They're going to be highly pressured to utilize their company's own products. I think it's really important, too, in answering that question, you get a feel for, and this kind of bleeds into the next one, what is their investment approach? You get a feel for, are they product driven or are they client driven? And what I simply mean by that is in the first 30 minutes of meeting you, if there's any conversation about products, about investments, about anything that you should be putting your money in, they're probably product driven. And you really need someone who's you driven, that's client focused. The product conversation comes many hours down the road. There's so much that needs to be known about you, the client, before anyone should be talking to you about what you should be investing in.
Now you're talking about what is your investment approach, and there's different portfolios. First of all, are they actually building their own portfolios? Do they have a group of different managers that they can select portfolios to meet your needs? Or is it basically something that is driven down from their corporation saying this is our portfolio solution, just find out the risk tolerance and then select the portfolio that they should be in and we'll manage it from a corporate level.
Right. I think a great time in that conversation too is to really understand the fees of their investment approach. We hear a lot of times people come in and they, I don't pay a fee, or, I pay 1%. But do you really understand the breakdown of what your fee situation is? Rarely do we have someone come in who says whatever they think their fee is, does that ever actually end up being what their fee is? Like,
right.
Do you really know what you're paying? So when you go and sit down with an advisor, you want to understand the whole fee conversation. What am I paying you? What am I paying the companies I'm investing in? Are those all showing up on my statement? Are there ways that I'm also being charged that aren't necessarily obvious to me? Like, give me the info. I want the info.
Right. And none of those things are necessarily right or wrong. But if you're getting into a situation where, you're shown a low fee and it's substantially lower than what you're seeing elsewhere, and you're not. There's a little bit of vagueness as far as what fee is baked into the product, because
Right.
when people say, "Well, I'm as the example you said, I'm paying 1% of assets under management," that's probably the fee that the advisor is getting. But all the other groups that are involved in this, the companies that produce the products and the companies that are housing the products, they all charge for what they do because they have to. They're not the United Way. They're not there to give away a service. So understand that it's a combination of all these things put together, and where that's coming from, and that's really what you're paying for your service.
Yep. This article talks about asking if they have a minimum. I would switch that. I don't think knowing about the minimum is important, but before you divulge any information to the advisor about your situation, I would encourage you to ask the advisor to describe to you who their perfect client is. This puts an advisor in a situation of having to explain to you their kind of core strategies without necessarily knowing if it fits you or not, because now that gives you the ability to determine if that's a fit for you. So often we hear of, I went in, I showed them all my stuff, and they said, "Oh, I'm a perfect client for them. They're retirement experts,"
Right.
But they already saw what you had. They're, and I'm not saying they're being dishonest, but I'm just saying they can craft what they're telling you based on what they already know. You should be able to walk into an office and say, tell me about your average client. Well, my average client has this amount of money under management. They're retired or they're nearing retirement. They're usually white collar management or upper level blue collar worker. Many of them are entrepreneurs or business owners. And most of them come to me for, some type of structure in how they're going to take income out of the assets they've acquired. Well, if you're a 23-year-old who's just starting out, right away that I'm not probably the best advisor for you. We don't really do the same things, right?
Right.
So I think it's important for you to understand that.
And I think one of the unique things, even though this isn't really a commercial for Forest Hills Financial, but one of the unique things that our company does offer, because we have a variety of advisors that work here, we don't all specialize in the same type of client.
Right.
So,
and you might find that lots of places.
Right. And so if you come in and speak to me and, because of your age or where you are in life, that you may not be the perfect fit to work with me, I'm probably going to be able to introduce you to somebody that is.
Yep. And then the last question you want to ask is really simply, what sets you apart? You don't want to hear about the values of the firm. You don't want to hear about, this isn't an elevator speech, right? This
Right.
isn't a 30-second commercial. You don't want to hear about how they use quantitative research to blah, blah. That's not what you're looking for. I want to know, why are you different? I'll tell you right now why Bart and I are different, why our company is different. And again, not because this is a commercial for us, but to give you an example of what you're looking for, right? Mm-hmm. You're looking for the advisor who says, look, I'm different because I work in a team environment. I have CPA, I have an attorney, I have partnerships with insurance agencies. We look at a holistic view of everything that you need to make your retirement successful. And we have all of those tools right here in-house with professionals that we've vetted and we know are quality to work with you so that you can get everything done. I don't need to be an attorney, an insurance agent, and a CPA, but I can find the people who I know are going to take care of you. You want something like that from your advisor. If it's a single person sitting in an office selling you, mutual funds, I mean, that's not any different than anybody else.
Right.
That's not what you're looking for. So, and coming up, we're going to talk about a little bit more with that. How do you know if your financial advisor's credibility is really up to par? We'll talk about that more right here on the Keep Your Money Show.
It's never too late to plan for your future, and the Keeping Your Money Show can help. Our team of advisors can answer questions you may have about investing your money. Through Securities America, Inc., our advisors offer a diversified and comprehensive list of quality products and services. Call the Keeping Your Money Show at 1-888-98-MONEY or visit keepingyourmoney.com to schedule your free consultation.